Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive contains B-complex vitamins and alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort. Learn more at nervivehealth.com.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Nets get a huge boost tonight with the return of Kevin Durant. He said after the morning shoot-around he'll play against the Heat tonight. In the 21 games that KD missed, Brooklyn went 5-16, tumbled from near the top of the East down to 8.
Under 20 games left in the season, but that's a situation we're in. That's a circumstance, You know what the standings are. Everybody's telling us every day how far we're dropping and where we may end up, and constantly telling us the situation we're in. But we understand that, and we know that each day is important. So we focus on tonight and just keep plugging away.
Kevin Durant. Representatives from Major League Baseball and the Players Association held an informal meeting today as they resumed labor talks amid the sports lockout. The 90-minute meeting covered the core issues that led to the league canceling the first week of the regular season. The NFL suspended all aspects of its COVID-19 protocols, citing recent trends showing the spread of the coronavirus is declining. The league leaves open the possibility of reverting to a level of protocols if circumstances warrant. Teams are still, however, required to comply with state and local laws.
Need to spring back into hiring season? You need Indeed, the smart hiring platform that delivers 4 times more hires than all other sites combined, according to Talent Nest. Post a job and hire ASAP. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit. Let's go! Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy here on a Thursday afternoon in the ESPN Asheville studio, the Ingles Studio. As always, the Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, and it is indeed brought to you by Ingles. Low prices, love the savings. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene is alongside. Not only can you hear us everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, but you can also see us everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you get all of our extra content that comes out here on the channel. And guess what? We've got a special one coming up for you this afternoon. Immediately following this show, we will not have the Threadbare Thursday as we usually do in the happy hour. Today it is going to be our head-to-head mock draft. The first round controlled by the NFC teams controlled by me, the AFC teams controlled by Jeremy.
I was pleasantly surprised at how well you represented yourself.
I know. I was too. There was not one moment where Jeremy looked across the desk at me and went, "You're an idiot."
I never actually had to utter the phrase, "What are you, a moron?" I never said that, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Which will shock everybody who ever listens to this program, because I get a lot of that from the old Ginger Ninja across the way.
Usually on draft things.
Yeah,
it's
well, I mean, because you do so much of the draft scouting, and you do 500 players a year at least.
It's 500 this year. Usually it's 300.
Yeah,
I might have overextended
you
myself.
went a little too far this year.
We are exactly 2 months to the day from the NFL draft.
Nice.
28 days left in this month. Draft next month. 28 days in. We are 8 weeks away from the 2022 NFL Draft.
That's right. We will have all of your Draftmas season coverage right here in the Sportsocracy. So keep it tuned here to ESPN Asheville and, of course, to the Sportsocracy.com. We have a live show tomorrow out at Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville. It is the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. Look, you don't want to miss it. SoCon tournament. Always a good time. Does not matter who's involved. Generally, you're going to see good, close basketball. And, if you want an example of how good conference basketball championship tourney time can be, just look at the Big South tournament yesterday. There were 4 first-round games, and 3 of them went to overtime. 1 of them went to double overtime, and UNC Asheville gets upset by a team that had only beaten Roast Beef Tech this year at the buzzer. A heartbreaking loss for Mike Morrell and the UNC Asheville Bulldogs. Unfortunately, the season comes to a disappointing end with a first-round exit in the Big South tournament. But that does free us up to go to the Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville, tomorrow for the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. Don't forget to go and visit the Ingles Fan Zone that's going to be out there in the Jan Davis lobby and stretching into the Thomas Wolfe Auditorium with all of the carnival games and video game screens and SoCon team swag, and the mascots will be going around. Jeremy and I will be on the concourse level just inside the door next to the merch table tomorrow, doing the show live from 3 to 5. We'll be roaming around all evening long, though. My kids are going to come out and join us for the games, and also, we would like for the whole family to be down there for the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. Get your tickets today at SoConHoops.com.
I will be there for much of the weekend, and I am very easy to spot. I have been told, especially now with my hair, because now I look like a lion.
Yeah.
A leon.
Yeah. I guess that's one way to put it. You look like an extra in the Joe versus Carol new series on Peacock.
Hey, just because there's more hair in the drain of my sink than is on your head does not mean your jealousy should show so obviously.
Well, there is that. Anyway, speaking of embarrassing personal physical features. The NFL Combine has fully gotten underway. Today, the quarterbacks and the wide receivers and what was the other position group?
Tight ends, wide receivers,
tight ends. Tight ends was the one I was missing. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, they're all going through the measurements and the on-field workouts.
That means it was D-Day for old tiny hands Kenny Pickett.
Old Trump hands Pickett. He lived up to the he lived up to the nickname today, as he had the smallest hands of anybody ever to be in the combine, right? That was how that went down.
He will have the smallest hands ever for a first-round quarterback. And I'll be 100% honest with you. If I was the Pittsburgh Steelers, basically anybody that plays in weather, I'm out.
Done.
I'm out. I have no interest in a quarterback with hands this small.
With 8?
And I know that sounds drastic, but Joe Burrow has 9-inch hands, and that hasn't stopped him. Kenny Pickett's not Joe Burrow.
No, he's not.
And he's not even close.
No. The whole hands, how big are your hands? Yes, it is important to have ball security as a quarterback in the NFL, and of course that's what hand size means, is if you have little tiny hands and you got this bigger football than you had in college, not by much, but a little bit, it's going to affect things. Kenny Pickett, we saw that from him down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. It was raining throughout the, 3 days of the practices that they had down there?
It was really one day.
Okay.
There was one day that was bad.
Okay, one day that was bad. But he had ball security issues in the practice, and that did not look good on his behalf. He declined to have his hands measured at the Senior Bowl.
Of course he did.
I guess hoping that he could gain another couple of half inches maybe on the hand before the combine rolled around. But today he had it measured officially, and it was 8.5 inches, which is normal for the average person. The average male, the average grown male, has 8.5-inch hands. So it's not like he's it's not like he's a freak or anything, but when it comes to being an NFL quarterback, how much does that really matter is the question. And
it matters a lot in weather.
Have there been great quarterbacks in the NFL with small, tiny hands? Sure.
Joe Burrow. There have not been many great quarterbacks that had little tiny hands.
Mm-hmm.
There have only been a couple that have ever had hands this small that have been drafted. Michael Vick was one.
Yep.
And weird. What was one of the biggest problems with Michael Vick?
Ball security.
He couldn't hold on to the ball.
Well, I think to me a lot of that had to do with the way he held the ball. Because he held it like he had big hands. I mean, Michael Vick was the first player that I ever looked at, and I guess this is probably just because of my age. I was able to look at him with an analytical mind rather than just blindly staring at a TV screen during a football game. But go, dude, that's not how you should be holding a football while you're running. And so he had that problem.
And he was elite fast.
Yes,
Ryan Tannehill is pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's not and has this same problem? Jared Goff. There was a game, and I can't remember how long ago this was, but the Rams played in the elements. And if you think about L.A., now obviously Detroit, that team's so bad that I'm not going to hold that against you.
Mm-hmm.
That L.A. Rams team he was on was very, very good. You know where he's been really, really bad? Playing in the elements. So to me, that takes Pittsburgh out on Kenny Pickett. Denver is close. Denver is nicer more often in December than you think. Now, when it's bad, it's bad.
Yeah.
And it's snowing sideways, and that would not necessarily take me off of him then. But this is a problem for Kenny Pickett. This is a big problem for Kenny Pickett.
See, I don't know that it's a big problem for Kenny Pickett because
he's not that good. I mean, at the end of the day, there's too many questions about him. This is not the end-all, be-all.
Mm-hmm.
With Joe Burrow, people like me, we laughed about it. Oh, he's got small hands. Yeah, he's also got one of the best arms I've ever seen. Leader of men, all of the buzzwords you say about quarterbacks.
Yep.
I cannot say that about Kenny Pickett. I can't. I feel like him, Malik Willis, Sam Howell are really, really close to each
Mm-hmm.
other. And so now I have this delineation factor of, everything I've thought about him is a problem. And he's older than every quarterback in this class. Those are all legitimate big boy problems. I look at him now and go, you better interview really well with the Denver Broncos, because outside of that, you could fall like a rock. And yes, I left Matt Corral out on purpose.
Yeah. Why? Why did you leave Matt Corral out?
I don't see him as that level of quarterback, and I never have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there are a lot of people that would agree with you on that this is there are no doubt home run hitter quarterbacks in this draft class.
I think there's one.
You believe that Sam Howell is one.
I'm drunk on Sam Howell.
Yes. But what I'm saying is, overall, the industry looks at this draft and goes, yeah, there ain't that guy. There's not the Trevor Lawrence. There's not the Joe Burrow. There's not the no doubt go get him number one. That's why when the Jacksonville Jaguars said, yeah, we're open for business on the number one pick, crickets. Absolute crickets. Because who are you going to trade up for? Who are you going to mortgage your future to trade up to number one to get in this draft? I mean, unless you're just completely drunk on one of the edge rushers, Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau.
That's not where you're going to see that in this draft. And you'll see it played out 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Yep.
The first half of our head-to-head mock draft, this will be picks 1 through 16.
Mm-hmm.
17 through 32 will be tomorrow in the same slot.
Yep.
Because we will be at SoCon.
Right.
Obviously, it's hard to get back here in 4 minutes, especially Asheville traffic.
Yeah, a little tough.
5 o'clock on Friday. You'll see that, to me, where this becomes really interesting is about 12 to 20. 12 to 25. Because there are so many. You don't have the high-level guys. Even Kayvon Thibodeau, who is a tremendous pass rusher. There's motor issues. There's a lot of questions that's a guy that can get you fired. Yeah. There are not many no-doubter guys. That's why I've laughed this entire process about a guy like Tyler Linderbaum. But he's a center. I don't care. Centers are analytically just as important as tackles.
Exactly.
A. B, he is a no-doubter. I know exactly what he's going to be in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. If
that guy goes in the top 10.
Right. If I'm a GM building an offensive line, that's and you will hear me talk about this in the mock draft, I am going to get my bookends and my center. I don't really care about the guards. I mean, guards are important. I'm not saying they're not important, but what I'm saying is, as long as I have those two stalwarts on the outside and I got the guy who I know can call the plays in the middle, to me, the guards can be also-rans or just average guards.
It's patently untrue, but
okay.
But if you're good on the ends and good in the middle, it can make up some deficiencies at guard.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, you were saying it in a way that made it sound like you could put me at guard so long as you had a center and a tackle and you would be fine. That's not true.
No.
That's just what this is going to be. This is why the Combine is such a big deal this year, because you have so many guys that are so close. Devontae Wyatt is a perfect example of this. I have heard a ton of talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's going to fall in love with him based on this weekend because he's an athletic freak of nature. The only problem is that when I watch him on tape, I never saw that. Ever. Him and Trayvon Walker both. I never saw you do it consistently. And so over the course of time, we catch a lot of flack about some of the things we say about the draft, and I'm just kind of sitting back going, don't believe me, just watch.
Right.
Just wait and see. But the Kenny Pickett thing is a tremendously big deal. And I've laughed about it for weeks. I don't remember how long ago I said this, but somebody pointed it out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just go ahead and tell you where that came from. Somebody I know met Kenny Pickett, shook his hand, and went, he has, without a doubt, the smallest hands I have ever seen in my life.
I did. Have you ever met somebody like that? Have you ever met somebody that just has like a weird shake?
Yes.
I mean, and it's one of those things that it throws you off so much that you can't forget it. Like, I've never had that problem with somebody with way too small hands. I've never had that problem. But I have had that problem with, I used to work with a guy named Brent. And Brent had half of a hand. When he was young, there's a little accident at his home. Ball goes over the fence. He goes to pull the ball back and comes by the neighbor with a lawnmower.
Oh,
yeah. It was a horrible injury for I think he was like 7 or 8 years old when that happened. But when he reaches out, like, he would intentionally reach out with the half a hand to get it out of the way, icebreaker kind of thing. And then I met Dwayne Shinsius. You remember him?
I do.
Dwayne Shinsius was down at the ACC tournament in 2007 in Tampa Bay. And I knew him immediately because one of my favorite movies when I was in, I think it was like middle school, was Eddie. You remember that movie? With, with Whoopi Goldberg, where she played the fan who became the coach of the New York Knicks. You didn't ever see that movie? Anyway.
That is one sentence where you said 3 things that completely off-put me of that movie in one sentence. You can deduce what they are.
Well, I thought you, as being a kid, as a New York Knicks fan, you would at least have seen that movie.
I hated movies as much when I was a child as I do now.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Tells us all
Especially
about
ones
you.
that have completely nonsensical plots.
But this guy had, he had banana hands. I mean, he's 7 foot tall, banana hands, and I grabbed him by the fingers. Because I just couldn't judge the distance.
Well, we did the after the Kenny Pickett number came out, we found a ruler here at iHeartMedia.
Yes, we did.
And measured our own hands. And, well, I have dinner plates. And that kind of made sense of there have been a few athletes that I have met over the course of time where when I shook their hand, I went, there was something weird about that. Oh, because I have dinner plate hands.
Because you have giant hands. Yours were 10 and a half, was that it?
10 and a half,
10 and a half inches. Mine were 9 1/4. So
yours are bigger than Kenny Pickett's. And you're 5'4".
Yeah, mine are a whole inch longer or wider, I guess I should say. And they measure you from the tip of the thumb to the tip of the pinky, outstretched hand all the way across.
And I've broken pieces of my hand so many times that I can't actually flatten my hand out. So there was a little arch, and I was still at 10 and a half.
Right.
I did that, and I went, well, that makes a lot of things in my life make a lot more sense.
Look, is it a no doubt if you have small hands you're going to fail in the NFL? No.
No, but it's another in a long list of problems I have with Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
In the right situation, and Cowboy John Roten and I were talking about this in the halls here at iHeart earlier. In the right situation, I'm not as reserved about that. In Denver, you have so many weapons that I think I could play quarterback for the Denver Broncos and at least be serviceable.
Look at the Denver Broncos picking at like 9, I think. You got the Washington Commanders
Out.
Who are picking at 11.
Out. Think about the teams in the division. I have to go to New York, I have to go to Philadelphia, and I play in Washington. Seacrest, out. December with a yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Pittsburgh, obviously, he's already played in Pittsburgh, so the Steelers are an option at 20. There's several teams, and Armchair Commentary said this, David Smith, in the comment section of when has there never been, when has it ever stopped bad teams from chasing quarterbacks when it's been a bad quarterback draft?
2013. It's the only class I've ever graded that was even close to that.
Oh, that was the E.J. Manuel year.
They didn't chase on quarterbacks then. Geno Smith fell in the middle of the second round.
No, but aren't these guys better than that? I would say Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, and Malik Willis.
Higher ceiling, equally bad floor. Malik Willis, great kid. He's a great kid.
Oh, yeah.
And the raw intangibles are there. He could also be out of the league in 3 years.
Yep. I'm sold on Malik Willis after the video from the Combine today. Somebody caught him on the street. He was walking by in Indianapolis, and there was a guy who was homeless sitting on the corner of the street. Malik Willis stopped, opened up his suitcase, and gave the guy, I don't know what it was that he gave him, but stopping to help a homeless man on the side of the road while you're heading to the NFL Combine, I got bigger things on my mind. That just kind of speaks to who you are as a person.
Yeah,
so now I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, too. It speaks more to NFL teams, too.
Oh, yeah.
They see things like that. And that's one of the funny things about the Combine is that I routinely catch flack for, you put too much into that. No, I really don't. I put more into the interviews. Almost invariably, there is somebody that goes into the Combine that the tape was good to great. And then they do something at the Combine that rubs everybody the wrong way. That's why by the end of next week, I will have a much better grasp on where guys go. And something happened we've been in Indianapolis a couple days now. All right, so the first on-field drills happen today. Something came out of Indianapolis, we'll talk about on the other side of the break. This tells you everything you need to know about the Combine, and it's the greatest example of it that I've ever seen.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville and the Sportsocracy.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, some beautiful early March weather continues here in the Carolinas. Boy, what a pretty day we had today. There is a little backdoor cold front that tries to drop our numbers a little bit closer to average here for Friday, but still enjoying some mid-60s coming up for Friday. 38 degrees our low tonight, 65 on Friday, upper 60s Saturday, and mid-70s here in Asheville on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Scott Laria-Moore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Real credit card questions require real people. Someone who understands your issues and works to resolve them with you. That's why Discover offers helpful, U.S.-based representatives. Available 24/7. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
There are tons of ways to connect with your favorite iHeart radio station. Calling, texting, DMing, faxing.
Huh? What's faxing?
But now you can talk to your favorite iHeart radio stations with one tap. Listen on the free iHeart radio app and tap the record button on the full screen player to send us a voice message, shout outs, song requests, Wordle tips, and more. Yes! Get on the radio with just a tap. Only on the free iHeart radio app. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
Hey folks, DG here. Y'all know I've always loved the slogan, Smiles Change Lives, which I first heard years ago from Dr. Rebecca Merrill of Asheville Smiles. I hope you will live that slogan here in 2022. Whether it's just time for a routine cleaning, you want to learn more about Invisalign, a great alternative to braces, you need a diagnosis and treatment plan, or if you don't have dental insurance, you just want to learn more about her special membership plans. 828-251-2426 or AshevilleSmiles.com.
With people getting in shape for summer, I want to let them know my fitness center is more than treadmills and free weights. So I created a radio ad at iHeartAdBuilder.com to spread the word about our yoga and boot camp classes. Now, my business is as healthy as our members.
A custom radio ad from iHeart Ad Builder is the fast, affordable way to drive customers to your business. Put the power of radio to work for you. Get started now at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Professional women's tennis is coming back to Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville, April 15th and 16th. Tickets are on sale now at USTA.com/BJKC. Get your tickets and see Team USA women's tennis in this exciting match, April 15th and 16th.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The Sportsocracy.
Take all this, burn it, okay? Gasoline, kerosene, either one. Burn it.
It's ESPN Asheville. We are the Sportsocracy, the Democratic Republic of Sports, Beer City's best sports talk. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene is alongside, and yeah, we've been talking about the NFL Combine, Kenny Pickett, Mr. Tiny Hands. Will it really affect his draft stock? Possibly. But I don't think there's any way that he's going to fall out of the first round because of it. I don't really see any way that he falls real late into this draft.
I wasn't convinced he was going superiorly high anyway. Our mock draft that airs after the show, 5 o'clock on YouTube. Find us at sportsocracy.com or at YouTube. Just search Sportsocracy. We'll pop right up there.
Now,
Just click on the little beer logo.
I will say this. He went earlier than I thought he would.
And that is, in that particular exercise, virtually every player that the team that drafted there could have gone with was gone. And that was the purpose of this exercise. There's no way for me, controlling only half of the teams, I can't even subconsciously steer things down the line because you're drafting in front of me. But the Combine, one of the big overreaching things about the Combine that's so important is this is the first time that you have all of the GMs, all of the scouts, all of the personnel people in the same room at the same time. So things start to leak out. Washington Commanders searching under every rock in the world to go find a quarterback. That's the reason that I've had them chasing Jimmy Garoppolo for as long as I can remember, because it's the cheapest way that they can guarantee they have a solution to the problem. Another thing that came out today, the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson are not even discussing a new deal. That is a much bigger deal than people are going to talk about, and I'll tell you why. First of all, he's represented by his mother. That's fine. When things are easy, it's fine that you don't want to pay the 4% to an agent. It's when things get to the point where they're at now of the Ravens do not overpay anyone, ever. It's just not what they do. They would rather tap out on you a year early than pay you a year too long.
Right.
They have a line in the sand of what they're going to pay Lamar Jackson. And it is apparently vastly discrepant to what he wants. This is going to sound strange coming out of my mouth right now. I'm not sure that I wouldn't call his bluff.
Okay. What do you mean?
Here's what I mean by that. Has there ever in NFL history been a more barren quarterback market than we have right now?
No.
Do you believe Lamar Jackson can win the Baltimore Ravens a Super Bowl?
Maybe.
You see how you hesitated there?
Oh, yeah.
Then you can't fall into the same trap the Dallas Cowboys did. You're paying a quarterback that, could he win you a Super Bowl? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a lot of breaks. It's going to take a lot of breaks. And if I'm Baltimore, I'm sitting at 14 knowing full well that there is a team in my division that adamantly wants a quarterback in this draft. And I'd have to ask myself why. Because I am completely built to do all of the things that would make him the most successful humanly possible. This is a total spitball, and I'm not saying that it's not. This is where ideas start because things like this come out and then teams start calling. I will guarantee you the Washington Commanders have called the Baltimore Ravens about Lamar Jackson. I promise you they have.
Oh, yeah.
They've called every team in the league to ask about availability of quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find it weird that as the same day that story comes out, a story comes out of the combine that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson are not even talking and they are worlds apart? You think those two things are insulated? Because I don't.
Really?
I don't in any way.
You think Washington's interested and Baltimore's going,
What question do I always ask when stories come out? What question do I always ask?
Who wants you to know that?
Who wanted you to know that?
Mm-hmm.
You think Lamar Jackson wants you to know that Baltimore's basically drawing a line in the sand and they're nowhere near a deal?
Probably not.
How does it benefit him? Benefits him in no way. But the first day that everybody's together, because some of the higher level decision makers flew into Indianapolis last night. Within the first 24 hours of everybody being in Indy, a story comes out that we're not even close with Lamar. What could that possibly benefit? Who said that to somebody in the media and went, I know what you're going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore did.
Yeah, you're going to put it out, and then teams like the Washington Commanders are going to see it and go, I wonder what we can give.
And now 99.9% of these stories crash into the rocks.
Yes. Like the Kyler Murray story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But all right, so Kyler Murray, wasn't even going to go down that path, but since you did, think about it. Who put out the story about Kyler being difficult? Where'd that come from? Didn't come from Kyler.
No, it came from the Cardinals.
There you go.
Yeah.
How long did it take for them to resolve that? First of all, the press release his representation put out is top 5 dumbest things I've ever seen somebody put out in my life.
Oh, about offering the contract extension?
Oh, and all of the pat yourself on the head. Okay, you're defending yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But they figured out within just a few days, there's no market here because nobody wants to pay a 5'9" quarterback $40 million. They figured it out. So now we must reconcile. I'm tied to Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury's tied to the Cardinals. Cardinals give Kingsbury an extension. Cardinals give Steve Keim an extension. Do you see how all these things are intertwined?
Yes.
That came off one thing that was leaked to the media. In 7 days, the Cardinals asserted their commitment to Kyler Murray by extending Cliff Kingsbury and extending Steve Keim. What did that tell to everybody in the league? We're all in.
Mm-hmm.
This is all the chips on the table.
Yep.
This is the closest we're ever going to get. We're all in. That's the reason that players like Stephon Gilmore, now he's interested in the Arizona Cardinals. Why? Because they went all in.
Yep.
So when you see stories like this, and when I see stories like this, it tells me somebody wants you to know that. And the only thing I can think is the Baltimore Ravens. This one could crash into the rocks, and you could have a deal done by March 16th, the day that the league year starts.
Right.
Or this could carry over for a while and become a much bigger talking point.
So now the question becomes, Carolina Panther fans, ready to give up number 6 for Lamar Jackson?
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
I would too.
I think it would take drastically more than that.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
All right. Look, I realize that I've done some war stories here, but I am a former news guy. I'm intrigued by all of this, and when I can tie it all back into sports, I'm going to do it. We gave the hats off to the Klitschko brothers for picking up arms and fighting for their country. Hadn't mentioned Alexander Usyk either, the current heavyweight champion, who is doing the exact same thing. Lomachenko as well has picked up arms, fighting for his country. Got to tip the cap to him as well. But it's not just Ukrainian athletes that are getting involved in the Russia-Ukraine war. It's also a NASCAR legend. NASCAR legend Richard Childress is getting involved in the war. And you say, well, how could that be? What could he possibly give? Is he giving a bunch of race cars? No, he's not. He is actually currently a member of Ammo Inc.'s board of directors. And he reached out to the chairman of the company, Fred Wagenhals, and had the conversation with him. Look, Vladimir Zelensky is out there saying, we don't have enough ammunition to fight this war. So Richard Childress is now donating 1 million rounds of ammunition to Ukraine to help with the war against Russia. This is what I always say about NASCAR. And look, you may not be a stock car racing fan. You may not be an auto racing fan at any stretch. May not be a car guy. But all the people tied with NASCAR and the legends, Richard Petty, Richard Childress, all of the Richards, good people, man. They're good people, down to heart, and you know what? Hats off to Richard Childress for doing the right thing, using his ability as a member of the board of directors for Ammo Inc. to help out in the war effort in Ukraine.
Speaking of people doing the right thing, Tennessee Volunteer fans are doing the right thing.
What?
Maybe you know the name Zakai Ziggler. He is a 5'9" freshman on the Tennessee basketball team. Well, February 26th, there was a fire at his family home in Queens, New York, which displaced his mother, his 4-year-old nephew, and other family members. Well, Tennessee's fan base came together and started a GoFundMe with a goal of $50,000 to help the family in this time of need. In 5 days, it's over $350,000.
Wow.
That is an outpouring of love and support that deserves its kudos.
Hey, you know what? Round of applause. Well, I'll give a round of applause to the Tennessee Volunteers fan base, because I give y'all a lot of smoke all the time. And this is one that I'll tip my cap to you.
Donations have come in from all over the country, from former Tennessee athletes, Chancellor Don Plowman, Outkick and radio personality Clay Travis, who was a huge Tennessee fan. This is one of the most mind-boggling things I think I've ever seen. Just a college athlete, and he's a contributor on the basketball team. But for something like this to happen, and then the fan base rallies around it, and you do this much to show your love and support, that deserved a mention on this here program.
Very good, very good. All right, we were talking about the Kyler Murray situation, and Lamar Jackson may be available.
Oh, I mean, there's no. I'm not saying he's available by any stretch of the imagination. I'm saying Baltimore went, okay, we're getting tired of this.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to prove a point here.
But you think that's what it is, that this was put out.
I don't think it's what it is. I know it's what it is.
This was put out to gauge the interest of other teams?
No, this was put out to prove a point. The question is what the point is.
Okay.
I was told when we first started doing this, one of the things I was told by somebody that had been in the media for drastically longer than I have, anytime a story comes out, you should always ask yourself one very simple question. Who wanted you to know that? And if you tie it back, this is kind of like when you watch true crime stories, follow the money.
Mm-hmm.
You can usually get to the point of something if you follow the money.
True.
Same point here. If you followed all the way back to who wanted you to know that, certainly not Lamar Jackson. Certainly not Lamar Jackson's representation. The only entity that in any way benefits from it coming out that they're nowhere near a deal is Baltimore, because they're the one that possessed the asset in a barren market. So one of two things happens. Either you give a little, because I've been flat told Baltimore's not paying $40 million to Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing it. They have hardlined that. They've hardlined it for a year. And there has been no movement on that. It's not that they don't believe in him. They don't believe in overpaying.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, first day of the combine, first day you're all together, you leak a story, and I say you leak. Let's just assume you're the one that leaked it.
Right.
That you're not even close and you're not even talking. It's weird timing. It's weird how that works. Almost invariably, when one story comes out, another follows it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly how I'm looking at this.
Okay.
It's just like the Cleveland story with Baker Mayfield. We're willing to look at all avenues. That's Cleveland basically throwing up the white flag. Going, here's what I can tell you we're not going to do. We're not going to extend Baker.
Mm-hmm. Look, I got to give these teams credit, though, for at least once in a blue moon, it seems like we're actually getting the truth out of some franchises.
Oh, you get the truth all the time. People just don't want to listen to it.
Like, okay, but what I'm saying is, like, Scott Fitterer. Scott Fitterer goes down, does the pre-combine interview, media availability, and he starts talking about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, he's got a lot to do. Now, it's the same thing they did last year with Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater has to have a hell of an offseason. That came from Matt Rule. For us to commit to him long term, for us not to make some kind of move. And then they ended up making the Sam Darnold move. You know, that didn't work out the way they wanted it to.
Yeah.
I get it. But Scott Fitterer saying again, he's got to make a major step. And we are open to all options. The Washington Commanders, we all knew they were going to be searching for a quarterback. What?
Well, from Scott Fitterer, that's adorable to say you're open to all options. Because here are your options. You can start Sam Darnold, or you can pay him $19 million to hold a clipboard.
Yep.
Your choice. I mean, you call it damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
That's the way that's going to go. And I'll tell you another layer of this that I've heard extensively in the last couple weeks. Matt Rule has been the one constructing this roster since he got here. Not anymore. It's not Matt Rule making the decisions now. Now it's all on Scott Fitterer. And him saying that about Darnold. You know what that was? That was him going,
yep,
not on me.
Yep.
Not my fault. This was Matt's problem. Matt wanted to go get Sam Darnold. We got Matt. We're bad. And now, this is one of the things that's been comical to me about all the people that think Carolina's going to draft a quarterback at 6. No, you are not. Directly out of that organization, we are taking an offensive lineman at 6. Period.
As they should.
They are all in on an offensive lineman at 6. And there is virtually nothing that could happen that would prevent them from doing it.
Right. Because you don't have the generational quarterback or even anything even remotely close to a generational quarterback.
But even think if you did. Think about the situation in Carolina right now, what you would be setting that quarterback up for. First of all, you got a $19 million quarterback that at least a portion of the fan base still believes in. You got another portion of the fan base that thinks you should be bringing back Cam Newton, which is still sounds stupid when I say it out loud.
Right.
So you bring in a rookie to that with a coach who's got one foot in the grave and one foot on a banana peel. So what is the high side here? How does that make any sense? I've seen a slew of people saying, well, Carolina should take Kenny Pickett at 6. In what world does that make sense?
Well, you bring him in. You've got Sam Darnold there as
and put him
bridge.
Behind what?
And
okay, the problem was fact or fiction.
Yeah.
Who's more talented right now, Sam Darnold or Kenny Pickett?
Sam Darnold.
And it's not even kind of close. So Sam can't produce behind this offensive line with these weapons. You got an issue with Robbie Anderson right now. Robbie Anderson's putting out, well, if it doesn't work out in Carolina, I'd love to go back to the Jets. You can keep making that call. You're not going to get much response. So what sense does that make? So you're picking at 6. This is one of the things that I watch, and maybe it's me being the draft nerd, that I pour 10 months of my year into the draft. I watch teams that make these decisions, and some teams do it. Cleveland Browns did it forever. There used to be it wasn't a quiet secret, it was actually quite loud, that the Cleveland Browns were basically just a dog chasing cars.
Yes.
They wouldn't know what to do with it if they caught it. But they see those shiny rims, and they cannot help but chase it down the street.
Was it like 16 quarterbacks in a 9-year period or something like that? It was great.
Unbelievable.
It was crazy.
And that's I cannot tell you definitively what Carolina's going to do. Here's what I will tell you. They have one of the most measured GMs in all of sports. Scott Fitterer comes from think about the Seattle Seahawks and everything you've seen them do over the course of the last 10 years. You know what they don't ever do? React. Namely, overreact. They're measured. Everything they do has a thought process. And now, behind closed doors, David Tepper has basically gone to Scott Fitterer and gone, you have all the power now.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Rule is not stable enough here for him to be making decisions because he could be gone in a year, and now you're just putting the franchise behind the 8 ball.
Not even that. I mean,
Scott
he could be
Fitterer's
gone
going to
in,
be here.
Yeah, I was going to say he could be gone in 7 months.
And that's fine, but that doesn't matter. Scott Fitterer has a very stable footing, which means you don't have to chase Kenny Pickett. You don't have to do these things that don't make any sense. You go hit the double at 6. You're picking 6th in this draft. And I'm telling you right now, there will be Panther fans that are upset with what you did at 6, and I'm 100% behind it because it's definitively a double. Can't tell you it's going to be a home run. Could be. Outfielder mishandles it. Could be a home run.
Right.
Here's what I can tell you definitively it's not going to be. Thrown out trying to steal 3rd. That's not going to happen. And that's where, if you're Carolina, you're not in a good enough salary cap position. You're 100% behind the 8 ball. So this, with Kenny Pickett's hands, we're in good weather. We should just take him at 6 and be done with it. That is the most astronomically insane take I've heard in the last handful of weeks. If you keep doing the same thing, the result is never going to change.
Right. Definition of insanity is trying the same things over and over and over again, expecting a different result.
And if you think about it, use the Cleveland example. Cleveland was the biggest joke in all of sports for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
They came back in 99, so from 99 to about 2018, so 19 years. What did they change? They changed one great big thing, and it had not one thing to do with any player on the field.
What was that?
They brought in NFL people and trusted the NFL people. So you went from the least talented roster in the league to one of the most talented rosters in the league. You made one boo-boo. You had the number 1 pick, and you took the wrong quarterback. So why? Carolina's done this with how many quarterbacks? We've done this Cam Newton. We've done it with Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, P.J. Walker. Why would you just keep chasing mediocre quarterbacks? Why not fix the things closest to the ball, and then when you find that quarterback, all of the other things are set?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because, and this is just outside looking in, probably because you got a head coach who realizes if he doesn't win some games and he's got some roster control, he's going to lose his job. So he's going to try to do, make the big splash, but also do what's easiest. I mean, let's face it, the Sam Darnold thing was easy. It was easy to do. You had the New York Jets.
It was overreactionary. No, it wasn't easy by any stretch. There's a reason nobody else would do it. I am a Jets fan. Trust me, we talked about this for weeks leading up to trading him. And there was and the funny thing is now Carolina is in the exact same position we were in 1 year ago. There is still a sliver of the fan base that believes in him. There is a sliver of the fan base that believes we should do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that may be. With Carolina, it's Cam Newton, P.J. Walker, whatever list of insanity that you can come up with.
Right.
And then the vast majority is just looking at it going, I don't know what to do. This is not my job. I just want something else to be done.
Right.
That is the worst position you can be in as an NFL football team because the fan base just wants you to change something, and it's irrational as it can be. How do you mitigate that? You have to make a big sacrificial move. Well, a sacrificial move is going to be Matt Rule. So why in the world would you bring in a quarterback, make him learn the system under Matt Rule for, I'll use your term, for 7 months.
Right.
Then you fire him, and a year later you got a rookie quarterback behind still mediocre offensive line trying to learn his second scheme in 2 years. You know what that sounds like? Jacksonville Jaguars, Cleveland Browns, New York Jets.
It does.
I've watched all 3 of them do it about 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
It never, ever, ever works.
Okay.
I've been wanting to get that little rant out for at least a week now.
Well, you feel better.
I do. You know what else would make me feel better?
What's that?
We're back to winning money on this show. We were off yesterday. I'm going to yell.
What, did Tuesday not go well? Is that?
This is the beauty of wagering. I had 2 money line picks. One of them that was plus 440. With 4 seconds to go, I was covering it.
Uh-huh.
With 0 seconds to go, I was not.
Loser.
And then I did it a second time in the same day.
Ouch. I would feel like that's hard to do. However, I have wagered before, and it's very easy to do when you wager.
But tonight there is a line that Vegas has put out, and could it go awry? Absolutely. Or it could be the easiest money you have ever made in your life.
Greene on Green's coming up next, right here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville.
The underdog. The long shot. The nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen, 100 to 1 shot. We know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
This week at Ingles, select 6 to 12 count Laurel and Cuddly soft bath tissue, $3.98 each. Select sizes and varieties Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Fruit Loop cereal, 2 for $4. And select sizes and varieties Tide laundry detergent, $12.98 each. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Asheville, Monsters of Rock and Roll Wilson. March 18th and 19th, Monster TNT explodes into the Egg Center. Here they come, metallic monsters and raw horsepower, starring the high-flying school bus called Higher Education. 3 monster shows. Tickets now at MonsterTNT.com or buy at Allen's Jewelry and Pawn for free pit passes. Monster TNT, the Egg Center.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get where you want to go. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Do you want the best for your car? Then fill up with Premium at Circle K. Circle K Premium is our best fuel with double the cleaning detergent, protecting your engine from corrosion and damage so it can work at its best. And that, my friend, increases your mileage for more cha-ching in your pocket. Plus, when you fill up with Premium at Circle K, you can save up to 20 cents per gallon. Offer valid Thursdays or Fridays at participating stores. For details, visit CircleK.com. Circle K. How convenient.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. It sure feels good to step into a warm car after letting it heat up for a few minutes. However, this practice wastes gas, increases emissions, and pollutes the air. Limit idling your car to no more than 3 minutes to save money at the gas station and improve air quality. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
You're always up for some fun with the family, so you order the essentials, a new board game, some baking supplies, and even a new projector for outdoor movie night. And with the Bank of America customized Cash Rewards credit card, you can choose to earn 3% cash back on online shopping, which could increase to up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member. Rewards which you can put toward an extra treat that everyone will enjoy, like an old-fashioned popcorn machine. Visit bankofamerica.com/more rewarding and apply now. Copyright 2021 Bank of America Corporation.
Coffee still closes on.
Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
I am really tired of going 2-2. I feel like I've been 2-2 every day for like the last 2 weeks. Not tonight. Vegas has boo-booed 2 of these lines. One of them's moved a little bit, but not enough. First, Dallas Mavericks are a 2-point favorite tonight at home against the Golden State Warriors. Warriors have lost 6 of 8. No Draymond tonight, no Andre Iguodala. Klay Thompson may play, but it's not a certainty. The Mavericks have been really good, and I think they're the better team at this point. Not saying that Golden State won't figure it out, but there's a lot of young guys that they're expecting to do a lot of things. You're going on the road, and I don't know who's going to guard Luka Doncic. Give me the Mavericks minus the 2. The Detroit Pistons are a 2.5-point favorite, or 2.5-point dog tonight. I'm going to be really on. They're actually an 8.5-point dog. I just realized that I didn't change the number. They're an 8.5-point dog. Detroit's really good at covering spreads, and this Toronto team is not as good as everybody thinks they are. I'm not going to say they win this because I think that's an overreach, but give me the Detroit Pistons plus 8.5. Finally, the Brooklyn Nets get Kevin Durant back tonight. They're a 1.5-point favorite against Miami. Over-under is 222. Miami played aggressively last night. No Kyle Lowry. Probably no Kyle Lowry tonight. Could rest Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. If they do, this line will move aggressively. I don't care if they do or not. Give me the Nets minus 1.5 over the 222.
Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
And as always, you can take those wagers over to betus.com. BetUS.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy and get a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500.
And the Pistons are actively a 9-point dog at the Raptors, and I like that. Obviously, half a point better.
A 9-point dog.
They are, I believe, 6-0-1 against the spread in their last 7 games. They lose, but they lose close. Toronto, not good at covering spreads.
Or they get a freak shot from Kelly Olynyk to beat the Hornets. I still can't get over that. That's the one thing in the last week that has just stuck in my brain.
You've been really stirred by that. You know what I'm stirred by? I had Providence plus 440. And they should have won. And then they didn't.
That's Big East basketball.
Don't commit. Why? Oh.
Expletives. All of the expletives.
Yeah, I said a lot of them. Anybody that lives near me, you probably got to hear a lot of them. I watched the last 10 seconds of that game, and I was so close. In Detroit, I was so close. I had that one for 47.5 minutes, but not for the half a minute I needed it.
My mind continues to be blown by the PhD weight loss program. Jeremy and I have been on PhD weight loss for 14 weeks now. It's been 14 weeks, and my scale continues to show me numbers that I don't know that I have ever seen before. I am now down under 250 pounds. Officially on the PhD program in 14 weeks, I am down 45 pounds, and I feel amazing.
I am back to my high school weight. I'm sleeping better. I feel better. And virtually every person I see, they always say to me, something looks different about you. And then they figure it out. You've lost a lot of weight.
Right.
And it's all thanks to the convenience and the nutritious food of PhD.
Right. I mentioned to you last week that my body is changing. My physiology is changing, and that's all helping me get off the couch, be more active, and set a good example for my kids, because that's really what I want to do with this, is use this to show them that it can be done, that you don't have to live in a life of, a sedentary life that is going to be you being unhealthy indefinitely. I'm turning things around with PhD. You can too. Go to myphdweightloss.com. myphdweightloss.com. We got a big one coming up on Saturday right here on ESPN Asheville. You will hear the North Carolina Tar Heels take on the Duke Blue Devils at Cameron for the final game of Coach K's career as the head coach of the Blue Devils. I almost said Demon Deacons. Jones Angell, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, will join us next to preview the big rivalry game.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, some beautiful early March weather continues here in the Carolinas. Boy, what a pretty day we had today. There is a little backdoor cold front that tries to drop our numbers a little bit closer to average here for Friday, but still enjoying some mid-60s coming up for Friday. 38 degrees our low tonight, 65 on Friday, upper 60s Saturday, and mid-70s here in Asheville on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Churches.
Stop by Churches for the high-flying flavor combination of our Texas tenders and shrimp meal today. It's butterfly shrimp alongside made-from-scratch Texas tenders, served spicy or original for $6. Churches, welcome to the great state of flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
And Doug.
Check it out, Limu, a roadside carnival.
Step right up, folks. Test your strength. Come see the fire-breathing baby.
Let's fan out and tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Look! An emu wearing sunglasses!
Limu, you're famous. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
63 Americans a day die by gun suicide. By storing our guns safely, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo, we can give our loved ones a second chance at life. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Real credit card questions require real people. Someone who understands your issues and works to resolve them with you. That's why Discover offers helpful, U.S.-based representatives. Available 24/7. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
This is Sports.
I'm Kevin Richard. The Brooklyn Nets had just won a game above 500, 8th place in the Eastern Conference. Wasn't always like that. There was once upon a time, for a couple of days, the Nets had the best record in the East. Then they embarked on an 11-game losing streak. Kevin Durant went down with a knee injury. James Harden suffered a boo-boo as well, and then he decided he wanted to get traded, which he did. All of this happened in a remarkable span of less than 30 days. Harden's gone. Kyrie can only play home games. Finally, tonight, Kevin Durant will return. Nets play host to the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat. Boston Celtics play the highlight machine known as Ja Morant. They host him at TD Garden tonight. Front half of the national television doubleheader. Back half is the Lakers and Clippers, and I have no idea why, because both teams stink. Washington Wizards guard Bradley Beal was asked this afternoon whether he's leaning on staying with the team this summer. Beal's response, it's fair. Beal has a $36.4 million player option for next season. Should he decline, he's eligible to sign a 5-year, $246 million max contract with Washington. Beal's season ended back in late January after he injured his wrist with season-ending surgery.
Brought to you by Capital One Shopping. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Capital One Shopping. What's in your wallet? Savings and available coupons vary.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Well, college basketball season is coming to a close for some. Right now, it's just heating up for others, and the North Carolina Tar Heels are no different because huge game coming up on Saturday as we will see the end of an era in college basketball, and not only college basketball, but the Duke-UNC rivalry. It will be the final game that we see Mike Krzyzewski as the head coach of the Blue Devils going up against the Tar Heels. Joining us now on the program, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Jones, Angell Jones. So we've taken care of business. Last two games. Should have been another 20-point win against NC State, but the final score looked closer than the ball game actually was. And then taking care of business against Syracuse in overtime. We've got the games you should win out of the way. Now it's the big one on Saturday.
Yeah, but Tank, I think those games were important for Carolina. I mean, the Tar Heels need to accrue victories. That is their best tool for the NCAA tournament is for Carolina to get wins. And for the most part, yeah, I think through this latter half of ACC play, they've done a really good job of that. The one glaring exception, that Pittsburgh game in the Smith Center, where for whatever reason the Tar Heels just didn't show up till about 2/3 of the way through the game, and it was too late once they did. But for the most part, they've done a good job just picking up the wins against teams that they are equal to or better than. And that's gotten them to this point that now they're going to face a team that I think is better than Carolina this year in Duke. Blue Devils are really, really good. Certainly they're going to have all of the outside emotions and things that will go with, as you referenced, Coach K's final game in Cameron, final regular season game as the head coach at Duke. And so there will certainly be a lot of energy. This will be an emotionally charged game. From the Tar Heel perspective, and Hubert Davis talked a lot about it today when he met with the media, is that you have to block out that noise and understand that Carolina's role in this is not to go be a part of a celebration. Carolina's role is to go play a basketball game and to be as ready as it can be to try and win. And the Tar Heels will have to play at an extraordinarily high level to have a chance to do so.
Yes, and I do not believe that it's going to be good for the Tar Heels' fortunes if we can't get Caleb Love going a little earlier than late in the second half like it was against Syracuse. But for the bad that I can say, the good, it was pretty darn good. What, he hit three big three-pointers there at the end of regulation and then scored, 8 out of the 15 points in the extra frame?
Yeah, it was. I said in the postgame on the network, Jackie, it was the full Caleb Love experience, right? You had the questionable moments and the questionable shot selection and some turnovers, and then all of a sudden, when it mattered most, he was doing everything right. Hit some big shots and made some quality passes, and that Caleb Love, the final 7.5 minutes, the last 2.5 of regulation, and the 5 minutes of overtime. Yeah, Carolina's just such a better team when that version of Caleb is there, because he can do some things at his size and athleticism that nobody else on the Tar Heel team can do. And so you to me, Tank, from the Tar Heel perspective, if you're talking about individuals, Carolina has to have that version of Caleb Love, and they have to have a good Armando Bacot to have a chance to win this game. And Bacot was in foul trouble very early in Chapel Hill. He picked up 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes or so of the game against changed the game. That wasn't the only reason, but that was a big factor in the poor play that Carolina had in the first 10 minutes of that game. And you can't afford to have another stretch like that, because if you do, just like the game in the Smith Center, you're going to be too far out of it to have a chance to get back in. And so Carolina has to have both of those players show up, be available, and play at a really, really high level for them to have a chance to win the game.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the game coming up on Saturday. We all can. I mean, you could just look at the standings, look at the rankings, and go, Duke is way better than Carolina. Does that really play out in real life? Are they that much better than Carolina, or was it just a bad night at the Dean Dome when we faced off earlier in the season?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. Yeah, I do think Duke is the more talented and deeper of the two teams, and that's not some kind of shot at Carolina. I think that's much more about just the quality of team that Duke has this year. You have seen that throughout a large majority of this season from the Blue Devils, both in conference play and in non-conference play, that they are one of the more talented teams in the nation this season. So I do think they have the advantage on paper. Having said that, I also think that the first game between these two, you saw at least for the first 10 minutes or so of that game, a Duke team that was clicking on all cylinders, if you will. That was fully engaged. That was doing everything that it wanted to do. And you saw a Tar Heel team that was really struggling to do anything that it wanted to do. And so yes, I do think Duke is the more talented of the two teams, but I also think that first 10 minutes was as heavily weighted towards one of the two teams as it possibly could be. So I do think it's a combination of the two things, and that's why I do think the beginning of this game is going to be fascinating, because I think the question is, is Duke a little tight? This is certainly all the attention is going to be on their performance at the beginning of this game. Are they tight? And if they are, can Carolina take advantage of it? Or are they absolutely energized and playing at an extraordinarily high level? And if that's the case, can Carolina survive it? And so I think those are, whichever one of those scenarios occurs, then it's dependent on the Tar Heels to see how they react to it. And so it is going to be an emotionally charged atmosphere. The energy in the building will be at an all-time high.
Right.
And so how the teams respond to that, I think, will help tell the story of this game, especially at the beginning of the contest.
As a Tar Heel born and bred, I am deathly afraid of the latter of those scenarios of it's just too much. The atmosphere is going to be just more than it's ever been. I mean, you've got tickets now going for like $30,000 for this game for primo seats. It's an atmosphere that I'm not sure anybody on the Tar Heels can really wrap their heads around, because as I heard Hubert Davis talking on Tuesday on the Hubert Davis show with you, he was talking about how these guys, a lot of these guys didn't get a full basketball experience with no fans in the stands or very limited attendance throughout last year, and now they're finally getting a taste of that, and now you're going to have the most amped up Cameron crazies you've ever had, because not only did they just beat the snot out of the Tar Heels the first time, but now it's the Coach K ceremony game, and I'm deathly afraid that they will not be able to stand up to the moment, at least in the beginning, and may dig themselves into a hole that they just can't get out of. With this being go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, to me, that aspect of the game is, as a competitor, I think you should enjoy competing in those type of environments.
Sure.
To me, it's much more of how Duke reacts to it than how Carolina reacts to it. Nobody in the stands is going to rebound or block a shot or make a three-pointer. It's much more, to me, is Duke energized by what happens, and then how does Carolina react to how Duke is reacting, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do think if you're the Tar Heels, you have to make sure that you don't let things snowball on you to the point that if you do have a turnover or two or something like that, that all of a sudden you're on the wrong side of a 14-4 run and things are going the wrong direction. And so that, to me, is where the atmosphere could come into play, is if it really energizes Duke and then Carolina can't react to the guys on the court. The guys on the court are going to decide the game. Nobody in the stands wiggling their fingers or painting their face is going to decide this game. It's going to be Banchero and Keels and Williams and Roach and Griffin and Baycott and Love and Davis and Manick. Those will be the ones who decide the game.
I mean, I agree with you, but that atmosphere is going to be tough. Now, you have been around for a while here with the Tar Heel Radio Network. Do you have a favorite Coach K-related story, since we're putting the finishing touches on his regular season career?
No, he's the only coach in the ACC that's never talked to us, so I don't have a great story to share with you, other than Mike Krzyzewski's obviously a terrific coach.
Right.
No matter what team you pull for, that's obvious. I think one of the things that has always impressed me is that his teams always play hard. I do think that's absolutely true, is that his teams compete at a high level. He's always done a good job getting his teams to compete at that level. Now, certainly the Tar Heels see Duke every time when it's a meaningful game, in a rivalry game, and the Tar Heels are always up to play that game. But from watching from afar, not only do they compete hard in that game, they seem to compete hard all the time, which I think is a credit certainly to Mike Krzyzewski and to his staff. These have been terrific games through the years. There's an outlier or two in there, of course, where one team wins significantly over the other. But for the most part, this is a series that's been littered with terrific individual performances and memorable moments and great shots and big comebacks and all those different things. And so this game certainly will have enough with it already, with all the outside influences that will make it one that people remember. You certainly hope that the guys on the court can equal that atmosphere as far as their play.
So there's never been a time where he's made himself available to talk to the rival network? That seems weird.
Not since I've been here.
Right.
I've been in some way involved with the network on the air since I'm thinking 2005, 2006, in that range.
I was going to say it's been a while because you were doing studio updates to start out, right?
Right. So yes, and so certainly not since I've been involved, and honestly, that's changed some. I think fewer coaches do that now, although we still do get plenty of one-on-ones. Just off the top of my head, we talked to Tony Bennett, we talked to Leonard Hamilton, we talked to Mike Young, we talked to Kevin Keats. So most, and that's again, I'm just kind of firing from the hip here.
Right.
Most of the coaches will talk to us, but not all. So that, yeah, I'd love to do that, but that's never happened. So, but that's fine. Certainly that's his prerogative. So, we'll see if John Shire does, starting next year.
Yeah, that's fine. It is what it is. There are good stories about Coach K out there. There are, that pump him up. There are other stories out there to make him, look like the guy that many Tar Heels fans believe that he is. But it all adds to the rivalry, and that's what I love about it. I mean, I have, as like I said, born and bred Tar Heel fan, I have cussed, I have yelled, I have screamed his name and just, burned him in effigy, basically, with my words. But there is no doubt that he is, and I'm going to say it, and it might tick off some Tar Heel fans, but he is the greatest college basketball coach of all time. And, of course, our other two are in that discussion as well. But, I think you'd be disingenuous not to realize the impact that he has not only had on the game itself, but for the rivalry. I mean, the Dean Smith-Coach K rivalry was just phenomenal. We always see the TV highlights of them playing, them yelling and screaming back and forth at each other early in Coach K's career. And then it just continued as the two programs continued to be ranked in the top 25 perennially and have built the greatest rivalry in sports.
Well, there's no doubt that he is a terrific coach. I've always and will always consider Dean Smith the greatest basketball coach in the history of the game.
And that's fair.
I certainly understand the measurements, the wins, and those kind of things. Mike Krzyzewski is not paralleled when it comes to number of wins. Mm-hmm. But I do think that with Coach Smith and his program building, the way that he changed Carolina basketball through the years, the important social changes that he enacted or helped enact, the rules of the game that he helped affect, and just the fact that I've been lucky enough to see front row the family of Carolina basketball that he started and maintained through his life. To me, Dean Smith will always be the greatest to ever do it. Where I think we are so lucky within this rivalry is that you can have a legitimate argument about so many of the people who have competed in this rivalry, that they are one of or the greatest at what they're doing. And whether that's Dean Smith or Roy Williams or Mike Krzyzewski, as far as coaches are concerned, or if you want to, I don't think we're going to argue that Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time, but when you're talking about great, just straight college players there's a ton of guys on both sides that are in that conversation. And whether it's James Worthy or Antoine Jameson or Tyler Hansbrough or Christian Laettner or Jay Williams or J.J. Reddick, there are plenty of guys on both sides that will be in that conversation as some of the best to ever do it. And so the fact that they are involved in these two places is part of what makes this thing so incredible.
I had a coworker just walk down the hall earlier today and say, you know what? I just saw Christian Laettner on television again, and all this time has passed, and he still ticks me off. Just the side of his face. but that's what the rivalry is.
Yeah, plenty of Tar Heels, I think, that feel that way, but I think there's probably, you flip that around and you show Tyler Hansbrough on TV, and there are plenty of Duke fans that feel that same way.
Absolutely. Jones Angell, voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, always a good time with you here on Tar Heel Time every Thursday at 4 o'clock. I guess when we talk to you next week, we'll be talking about ACC tournament, or you guys may be playing. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Still awaiting Carolina, depending on what happens, can still be the 2, the 3, or the 4 in that ACC tournament. They have secured the double bye, which I do think was a big benefit, a big plus for them.
Yes.
But still waiting to see where exactly they'll play, so we'll have to figure it out. But we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. We'll see what we can do. We may have to shift you to another day or something just to make it all work. It's going to be fun. It's always a good time at the ACC tournament. But this Saturday, Jones Angell and the crew will have the call for you. Duke and Carolina. It's going to be a blast. Jones, thank you very much, sir, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tank. Talk to you soon.
All right, go Heels, and you are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We'll be right back.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, some beautiful early March weather continues here in the Carolinas. Boy, what a pretty day we had today. There is a little backdoor cold front that tries to drop our numbers a little bit closer to average here for Friday, but still enjoying some mid-60s coming up for Friday. 38 degrees our low tonight, 65 on Friday, upper 60s Saturday, and mid-70s here in Asheville on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 240 westbound between Chuns Cove Road and Charlotte Street. 26 on the westbound side is slow between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Smoky Park Highway southbound approaching Sand Hill Road delays. Patton Avenue moving well. New Leicester Highway, no problems. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road delays. Hendersonville Road delays between Biltmore Forest and the Blue Ridge Parkway, both directions. On the Charlotte Highway, no backups. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Real credit card questions require real people. Someone who understands your issues and works to resolve them with you. That's why Discover offers helpful, U.S.-based representatives. Available 24/7. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
Asheville. Monsters of Rock and Roll website. March 18th and 19th, Monster TNT explodes into the Egg Center. Here they come, metallic monsters and raw horsepower. Starring the high-flying school bus called Higher Education. 3 monster shows. Tickets now at MonsterTNT.com or buy at Allen's Jewelry and Pawn for free pit passes. Monster TNT, the Egg Center.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Check it out, Limu, a roadside carnival.
Step right up, folks. Test your strength. Come see the fire-breathing baby.
Let's fan out and tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Look! An emu wearing sunglasses!
Limu, you're famous. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Do you want the best for your car? Then fill up with Premium at Circle K. Circle K Premium is our best fuel with double the cleaning detergent, protecting your engine from corrosion and damage so it can work at its best. And that, my friend, increases your mileage for more cha-ching in your pocket. Plus, when you fill up with Premium at Circle K, you can save up to 20 cents per gallon. Offer valid Thursdays or Fridays at participating stores. For details, visit CircleK.com. Circle K. How convenient.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg, and cheese or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumping a bag of hammers.
Oh, man, I can't wait. I can't wait for another, and I don't even care. I don't even care that the Tar Heels are such underdogs in this game. I don't even know what the Vegas line is, but I'd have to imagine it's got to be double digits going up against Duke on Saturday. We'll have the coverage of it right here on ESPN Asheville for you. Oh, it's gonna be a hectic weekend. We got the SoCon tournament in town, 2022 Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships, live at the Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville. It is officially underway. The women's first round started today. We are going to have evening action for you tomorrow after our program. We'll be down there at the at the Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville, for the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships, live from 3 to 5 tomorrow. We'll be on the concourse over next to the merch table, doing our thing. Come on by and see us while we're out there. And then the evening session is going to feature 2 men's games. The first round games. I know the Citadel's playing in that. We got Western Carolina is going to be the late game on tomorrow night as well. Hoping to make a run here in the SoCon tournament. It's going to be all weekend long. We'll have the coverage right here on ESPN Asheville for you of quarterfinal Saturday, semifinal Sunday as well. It's going to be a busy weekend.
I'll be around in the arena a lot of the weekend.
Yeah,
I haven't exactly figured out when I'm going to be there. I know I'll be there Saturday night,
and Friday night.
I will be there Friday night
and Monday
night.
Yeah,
and I think I will be around at some point on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll be getting out of here on Monday as well, and heading down to the championship of the SoCon tournament. It's always just a cool thing to see, and no matter what level of basketball you're watching, whether it be in the Big South or the Southern Conference or the ACC, seeing a team be able to immediately punch a ticket into the big dance and go in with some fever into the tournament is amazing. You just get to watch them cut down the nets, get the trophy. It's just, I love the pageantry of college basketball. It's going to be so much better now that we have the full ability to pack out the stadium.
I love conference tournament basketball. It's just it's a different feel in the arena than anything else.
Yes.
And as you said, it doesn't matter. Conference to me, the SoCon has a great feel. We were courtside 2 years ago for the finals. That was my first conference final.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to the ACC tournament a bunch of times, and Florida State never makes it to the finals, so I never go.
So you never go to the finals?
Oh, that's not true. I went to the Duke Florida State finals 3 years ago.
Okay.
That was with Zion. That did not go my way.
That was fun for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the Bring Me Zion. That didn't go my way. We had won we won 2 games in a row, one at the buzzer and one in overtime.
Right.
And I thought there was no shot we were going to lose. And then Zion beat us senseless.
I've been on both sides of championships in the ACC tournament. I've seen the Tar Heels win a championship. I saw the Tar Heels lose a championship in Greensboro a couple of years back to Mike Bray and Notre Dame. That was a heartbreaker. But that's what tournament basketball is all about.
Oh, I love the winner go home.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we will. Somebody asked in the comments earlier, are we going to be having a bracket contest on this show? And yes,
we will.
Yes, we will, because brackets is one of the things that I love to do the most.
Our resident Canadian, has been talking for weeks about defending his title. Eventually, I've got to be good in the tournament. It feels like it's been 5 years since I had a bracket that wasn't just completely shot to in 4 days.
Well, look, I just feel like it's so hard to pinpoint college basketball these days.
This year specifically.
Yeah, because you have so many teams that can show up big on certain nights and then not show up the next night. And I always love the matchups of these senior-laden, fundamentally sound, smaller conference teams that get in these games with these flashy, big-time schools that have the young stars, and they end up sometimes running them off the floor, so to speak.
I feel like we should do the bracket reveal live.
Oh, Selection Sunday?
We should do the Selection Sunday thing live.
It could be fun.
That could be fun. That could be fun. There's a possibility there.
Yeah. All right. So obviously the big conference tournaments will kick off next week, but this week we've got the mid-major conference tournaments, including the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. You want to go to the tournament? All you got to do is just go to SoConHoops.com. SoConHoops.com. Get your tickets today. All of the action underway in Asheville now.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound stop and go approaching Fanning Bridge Road and continuing to just after Airport Road. Future 26 eastbound light delays between Riverside Drive and 240. Near Inca Village, Sardis Road, moving from Sand Hill Road to Pond Road, delays both directions. Avery Creek area, Boulevard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. And Sweeten Creek Road northbound approaching Mills Gap Road, delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. When you need a taco, you need a taco. Try the new Cantina Crispy Chicken Taco from Taco Bell with your choice of creamy chipotle or avocado ranch at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
All right, we love to say in the weird news segment, don't do crimes. Just don't do crimes. And I feel like there has been examples in history that have shown you this is never a good idea. But authorities say they had to remove a JetBlue pilot from the cockpit of his plane because he got drunk before the flight. Niagara Frontier Transportation Authority says that officials got a tip that 52-year-old James Clifton might be impaired while he went through the screening at the airport in Buffalo, New York on Wednesday. He reportedly had a blood alcohol content of 0.17.
The terrifying part to me about this story is that it's legal for someone to fly a plane at 0.04. That is terrifying to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. Clifton was released to JetBlue security after being released from custody. No word on if he will face federal charges, which you should.
I mean,
don't you think?
One would think.
But at 0.17, is that not borderline alcohol poisoning?
No.
Is that
0.40?
0.40?
No. Yeah, you're nowhere close.
0.17 to me, that sounds like by-floor territory.
I mean, for you, I'm sure it would be.
Yeah, it probably so.
For me, it's Tuesday. There's nothing all that peculiar about that.
Don't do crimes.
Well, you stole my story. So,
I'm sorry. I apologize. That
that was mine. So,
I thought you were going to do the story that I sent you yesterday.
I've slept since then.
About the special breaks that people are getting at a certain company.
Oh, yeah.
It's in your email.
I know, but I don't have it pulled up. So I didn't remember it.
Oh. Well, I guess you'll just have to save that one for later.
Oh, yeah, that one can be used later on. That's a good story that I'm going to have to specifically tell in a very specific way.
Mm-hmm. How about this one? An out-of-control rocket is on track to crash into the moon tomorrow. It was first thought to belong to SpaceX, but NASA now believes that it's from a Chinese test mission launched in 2014. That means it's been floating in orbit for almost 8 years. Though China claims that it already has burned up. It doesn't exist anymore. Either way, the moon is going to take a direct hit, but scientists say that the impact will be minor. So they'll not be, I guess it won't be strong enough to put another crater on the moon. But the moon will be in direct danger tomorrow from this, from this out-of-control rocket that's been up there for 8 years.
Space is fun.
I love space stories. I don't love space stories as much as Jeremy loves the NFL Combine, though. I mean, guys, he has been giddy all day long. He's been watching the pre-game coverage of the on-field workouts at the Combine like he's getting ready for a Jets Super Bowl appearance.
Oh, look, the Combine is one of my favorite times of year because that means it's all starting in earnest.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets side of the year, which is the offseason, when we can throw way too much money at players, overdraft players. And there are a lot of guys that you're going to see some special things at this Combine.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Daniel Jeremiah put out his list of 7 most likely to be the fastest in the 40, and I laughed at 4 of them out loud.
He did. He even had to pause the television, leave because he was in a conversation with somebody else, and then came back and went, I had to pause this because you guys see this.
Because this is ridiculous. Sky Moore from Western Michigan is a guy that I think could...
He wasn't even on the list that Daniel Jeremiah had up.
He wasn't, and he is ridiculously fast. There are a lot of guys that could do special things at this Combine.
But the record is what, 4.27?
No, it's 4.2. I think it's 4.24.
4.24? Okay.
If I remember correctly, I think it's 4.24.
I think maybe I'm thinking of the old record. I think that might have been Chris Johnson's time.
Chris Johnson's time was 4.28.
4.28. Okay. So there could be. So could there
John
be?
Ross 4.22.
Okay, 4.22. Wow. That's just
nobody's touching that.
Right. That's just blindingly fast.
And nobody will touch. And I will say, I'm curious to see if Malik Willis runs, which I have yet to hear whether he's going to or not. I really struggle to believe that he's going to.
Why not? What would it hurt?
Oh, it certainly hurt. Oh, if he ran a 4.55, bad times. Because the thing he does best is take off and run. Now, what I think would happen is he would run somewhere in the neighborhood of a low 4.4.
That's what I was thinking.
The fastest ever run at the Combine was Michael Vick. He ran a 4.33. That's still comically ridiculous to me when I say it out loud.
Why?
Because that's fastest player in the league fast.
Uh-huh. That's how crazy Michael Vick was, though. I mean, I get that you were only 6 years old when he came out of Virginia Tech. But,
no, I was 14 when he came out. Yeah, because we beat him in the national title game.
Right.
Peter Warwick, Lavernius Coles, and Chris Winkie.
Right.
One of the few titles I've ever gotten to
But he
celebrate.
was a generational player in college football. You knew he was going to be something at the next level. I don't think too many people expected him to be as good as he was. I mean, you remember those first couple of years?
You're out of your mind. There were people that thought he was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah, your revisionist history on Michael Vick is insane. There were people that couldn't believe the Chargers traded off of him, which to this day is one of the greatest trade heists in the history of the draft that no one talks about.
But again, he's always had that the running quarterback. There have always been people that have never thought that the running quarterback would ever work in the NFL to a great degree.
At that time. But,
that's what I'm saying.
Michael Vick's one of the most ballyhooed prospects I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And there were people who thought he was going to completely revolutionize the way the quarterback position was played, and he kind of did.
Sure.
He was never overly successful, but he was, good gracious, he was hard to stop.
Mm-hmm.
He also broke Madden for about 6 years. You could not play Madden for about 6 years.
We actually had a rule that if you were going to play, you couldn't play with Michael Vick.
Nope, can't be the Falcons because I will throw my controller at you, and that will not be good. But of all the position groups in this, the 4 days in Indy, tonight's going to be one of the most impactful because this is a really deep receiver class. This is a really deep tight end class. And if somebody were to put on a show as a quarterback, they could distance themselves. I'm really interested to see what Desmond Ridder does at the combine. It's not going to change my opinion, but if he came out and had a great night, he's one of those players I keep seeing in the first round, and I laugh every time I see it because it makes no sense.
Right.
But I could see a team falling in love with him.
But are there any big names tonight that have opted out, that have decided they're not going to participate in key drills? I know we have a lot of that going on. I mean, I saw like Tyler Linderbaum has already said he's not going to be participating in on-field stuff at the combine.
There's not a lot, especially with quarterbacks, because that's usually where you see the opt-out.
Mm-hmm.
You see the opt-out with guys that are either no doubt top 10 picks or the highest-end quarterbacks. Well, the problem in this class is that there's no consensus on who that is.
Yeah, no, all these guys have something to prove.
In terms of the receivers, I mean, there's not anybody that I can think of that is not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them may opt out of the 40, and it's specifically they want to be on the grass at their pro day. Indy is a weird setup. It's a fast track, but that's a really weird setup. I can't wait to see Christian Watson out of North Dakota State.
Mm-hmm.
He's so raw, but he could run a ridiculous time. I think he's 6'3", and could run in the mid 4.3s, low 4.3s.
Right.
And that's what's so fun to me about the combine, is because this is the one time in the draft process where there's no lies. It's all computer timed. You all have the same time. There is no, was the watch quick? Nope. It's all universal. I remember Vernon Golston, which is still two words that I really struggle to say out loud. He just broke the combine. Teron Armstead, he broke the combine. Still has the record for the fastest time by an offensive lineman. Just imagine in this, and I know it wasn't that long ago, but in the social media age we live in now, imagine if a 6'6", 300-pound offensive tackle that you had never seen ran a 4.71.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because that's what he ran.
Mm-hmm.
It would break Twitter for half a day. And I don't think that's going to happen. But you're going to have some incredibly talented players, and this is a big prognostication tool. Because there's so many guys that have such close grades. If somebody really breaks the combine, their value could skyrocket. And I heard this stat this morning. The difference between being the 5th pick in the draft and the 10th pick in the draft is $10 million guaranteed dollars. And there's so little consensus as to who that is that you're not going to see many guys opt out.
Yeah.
There are only a handful that I know. I know Matt Corral's not going to throw, but that's not an opt-out. He physically can't. He's
right.
not back from the injury.
Right, that's an injury thing that happened down at the bowl game, right?
Yeah, his hope is that he can throw on his pro day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little skeptical of that, but it is possible.
What is the most overblown thing?
40. Not close. It is the most overblown thing in this entire process. It is the number one thing people talk about. It is the number one thing I do not care about.
Okay.
I mean, it's fun to watch.
Right.
You see the time and you go, oh, look, he ran a 4.3, 4.40.
Okay.
And?
Yeah, you had no equipment on. You had a straight line to run. You had the setup and everything. I mean, that's great to see what your body can do when you push it to that level. But
see, I care more about like the 3-cone.
Mm-hmm.
I care more about all the short burst drills. 3-cone, short shuttle, all of those things. And that's the nerd in me. I understand that the whole prime time, I mean, there's a reason the receivers are running in prime time. Because that's what's going to get people to watch
well,
this.
Of course it is.
You want to see somebody throw a dumb time.
Right. Like nobody wants to see Sam Howell go out there and run a 4.9 or whatever.
I will tell you a fun game, and this is some of my nerdy buddies and I, we've always said I would love to do a game show like this.
Mm-hmm.
Put a guy on screen, let him run, but cover the clock. And then have everybody around you guess what he ran.
Guess how.
You'll miss it by 0.3 of a second. I promise you.
Okay. Yeah, because after I saw DK Metcalf run a few years ago, I would have been like, damn, that was like 2.5. That was good.
Yeah,
that was a real good.
It's always really funny to me. People are like, oh, his technique was a little. Really?
What?
This guy like Dancing with the Stars. You don't even know what you're looking for.
It's like the Olympics. Like, you don't even know what a backside fakie is. Well, why are you...
That's another reason I refuse to watch the Olympics.
Because they make up terms?
Oh, look at the triple Lutz. What does that even mean? That's not words. You made that up.
The triple Lutz?
I don't know.
Wasn't that from a movie? Oh, no, I'm thinking of the triple Lindy. It's the greatest dive ever made.
The what?
The triple Lindy.
Oh, I thought that was that guard that played for the Thunder last night. Lindy Martin III.
Yeah.
I saw that name come across my phone and went, that's not a person. I feel like DraftKings broke.
Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. It's one of the great movies of the 80s you need to watch. He's not going to.
You lost me at movie from the 80s. I'm from the 80s.
But Rodney Dangerfield, come on. Don't tell me you're not a Rodney Dangerfield fan.
Oh, no, I like Rodney.
Okay, all right.
Just his stand-up. I have no interest in seeing him in him act in a movie.
No interest?
No.
So I can't get you to watch Ladybugs.
You lost me at the title. That's actually one of the first ones you've ever lost me on the title.
Yeah, never mind.
I'm looking forward to seeing these guys throw.
So most overblown to you is the 40-yard dash.
It's not even
close.
That is, if there was a drill that was completely done away with, it would be the 40.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing is that this has become such a television product that is what draws people. Because it's really hard to explain. And there are some drills that, I mean, I could go into why it's comical. But you don't really know what you're looking at. Especially the agility drills.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like these guys fall down. I've always, HWA, she gets stuck watching part of the combine with me. And she'll comment, there's nothing different about the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one. I didn't see any difference there. Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't much of one, but it was still did a little bit.
Right. I mean, you know what you're looking for.
There have only been a few players I've ever seen just completely blow the combine. Okay. Andre Smith a few years ago.
He always gets so much crap.
Oh, yeah, and he will. He'll be 80 years old and people still talking about it. He showed up and looked horrid.
Well, I mean, it was because you got that slow-mo of the video of him running, and his moves are doing circles.
Yeah, let me give you a slow piece or a solid piece of advice for anybody that's at the combine. Don't take your shirt off. Ever. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are built like an Adonis. Don't take your shirt off.
Mm-mm. And if you're a big old boy, wear a girdle or something.
Yeah, well, I don't even care about that. Just don't take your shirt off. It will not go well.
Compression clothing.
Oh, I can't wait. This is one of my favorite days of the year.
Coming up tonight, you got the wide receivers, the tight ends, and, of course, the quarterbacks all taking part in the combine festivities. Everything.
Trey McBride.
He's the one to watch.
I'm just telling you, I've had a funny feeling about this the entire time, that one of these tight ends is going to do just outrageous things, and I kind of think it's him.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, nobody's going to challenge Vernon Davis's 40 record or any of those things, but I could see him doing unbelievable.
Vernon Davis holds the 40 record for tight ends?
Yeah, and it was ridiculous. It's like 4.38 or something like that.
Oh, my
Vernon
goodness.
Davis was not of this world.
Right.
But he's also proof positive why you can't put too much stock into this. I mean,
what was wrong with Vernon Davis?
Well, he went at 6.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was
And
a very
day,
oft-injured player, but, I mean, when he was on the field, he was incredible.
As a receiver,
yeah.
He was not a complete tight end. He couldn't.
Oh, no.
He was not a good blocker, but, yeah, he was one that I got duped on.
He's also a guy I don't feel like he got his due. Like, had he been playing now, this time, he'd be Darren
Kyle
Waller.
Pitts.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. He was Kyle Pitts before Kyle Pitts was.
Yes.
He's also a great actor.
Is he really?
Yes, he is. He is a phenomenal actor.
What have you seen him in?
He's done a few movies. He's got something coming out really soon. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But he hosted an award show not long ago. And I heard them say, his budding career as an actor.
Oh, now I'm going to have to check this out. All right, you ready to win the folks some more money? We got 5 on it.
A couple of these I've already given you, but I have to emphasize them again. First one, I got 50 on it. Brooklyn Nets -1.5 against the Miami Heat. Miami played shorthanded last night. No Kyle Lowry, 35-plus minutes for Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. I have yet to hear if either one of them is going to play, but I have a funny feeling one of them's not going to. If they don't, especially if it's Jimmy Butler, because that's who would be guarding Kevin Durant, this line would explode. This is a get-it-early number. I got 50 on it. Brooklyn Nets -1.5. Next, the Dallas Mavericks are a 2-point favorite tonight at home against the Golden State Warriors. I have 2 huge questions. If Klay Thompson is questionable to play, even if he does play, he's not 100%. And this team's 2-6 in their last 8, has not been overly impressive. No Draymond, no Andre Iguodala. Who's the 3? With no Iguodala and no Draymond, who guards Luka Doncic?
Mm-hmm.
He might have 100 tonight.
Yeah.
This line makes 0 sense with it being in Dallas. I got 50 on it. Dallas Mavericks -2. Finally, you call this a gut call because I think Vegas is overreacting to this. This is the second time we've gotten this game this week. The TCU Horned Frogs travel to Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas, to take on Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Well, they beat them Tuesday. It was at TCU. And I understand that they're going to be a little angry. This TCU team is just criminally undervalued. They're going to make the tournament. They have one of the best players in the country, and it's just because they're little old TCU. Everybody saw them beat Kansas. They think Kansas is going to come in upset. And look, I think Kansas is going to win this game. I don't see any way TCU beats them for a second time in the same week. But I got 25 on it. TCU plus the 10.5.
And you can take those wagers over to betus.com. BetUS.com is the website. Just put our promo code Sportsocracy in, and they will give you a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500. Again, the promo code Sportsocracy at betus.com. Closing moments of the program. Jeremy's always working on a good mad. We'll see what he's got up next.
Hey folks, DG here. I have raved about Dr. Rebecca Merrill and her staff at Asheville Smiles for years now, and I hope you've already taken my advice. But don't just take my word for it. Gary recently gave a 5-star review online saying, quote, "I love the personal touch, !" They did a great job and explained everything they were doing. I am very happy we found Asheville Smiles, ! Believe me and Gary and the online review masses. And visit AshevilleSmiles.com.
If you're suffering every day with joint pain, stop and listen. You can get real lasting relief now with the natural biologic treatments of QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative solutions that can restore and repair damaged tissue with no surgery and no drugs. This is the relief you've been hoping for your aching hips, knees, shoulder, and lower back. The unique protocols at QC Kinetics were created by a physician with years of study in regenerative restorative medicine. They're treating patients every day in hundreds of clinics nationwide with remarkable success, life-changing results with zero downtime. It's the new, better, smarter, non-surgical, non-invasive way to deal with joint pain. And yes, they're right here ready to help you now. Call for a free consultation. Make this spring and summer your best ever with no joint pain holding you back. QC Kinetics, located in Asheville and Greenville. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517.
If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Check it out, Limu, a roadside carnival.
Step right up, folks. Test your strength. Come see the fire-breathing baby.
Let's fan out and tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Look, an emu wearing sunglasses.
Limu, you're famous. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. I'd like to carry more parts at my shop, but I just don't have the room. Every time I go in the back to get wiper blades, I trip over a dusty crate of Honda air filters, then bang my head on some GTO radiator hoses. eBay Motors never has that problem. They stock all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, with everything from new headlights to vintage gear shifters. I can't imagine being able to stock 122 million parts. I mean, where would I get all those shelves? eBay Motors. Let's ride.
The madness begins here. Make sure you're at the Harrah's Cherokee Center in Asheville, North Carolina, March 3rd through 7th for the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. You don't want to miss the action as your favorite SoCon teams compete for a championship and a berth in the NCAA tournament. Book your travel and tickets by logging on to SoConHoops.com or by contacting the Harrah's Cherokee Center Asheville box office. The madness begins in Asheville. Get your tickets today.
Dirty Turkish sharks are back flat.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Sharks are back flat.
Good. Let the hate flow through you.
You know, as we go into the NFL Combine, I feel like the disparity between sports gets more obvious by the day. The smart get smarter and the dumb get dumber. The NFL has found a way to turn their their underwear Olympics into a primetime event. Meanwhile, baseball can't figure out just exactly what their problems are to even come to the table and discuss them. Rob Manfred came out and said that that Major League Baseball's current structure has a payroll disparity problem. No kidding. In other breaking news, water's wet and today's Thursday. And yet somehow the Players Association cannot agree to that because all they care about is getting every cent humanly possible for the highest end stars. I understand wanting your money. I get that. At the end of the day, there is no disputing what he just said there, and I've seen nothing but him be attacked for that for the last 2 days. If you can't look at yourself, I can look at myself and go, you know what? I have a weird haircut and I'm a little chunky.
Yep.
If you can't see your own problems, there's no shot of you ever solving them. And the Major League Baseball Players Association has that problem and has had it for my entire lifetime. You want to know why people like me throw so much shade at baseball? Because of things like that. You want to love it? That's totally up to you. At the end of the day, the business model doesn't make any sense. And I see exactly how this is going to go. We're going to play this fun little game of he said, she said for about the next month or two. And eventually, they'll come to the negotiating table. Each side will give a little bit, but they won't actually resolve their problems. And we'll be right back here 4 years from now. If I'm Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred, I know people don't like me, but you have the chance to actually fix your sports problems if you have the backbone to stand up to the Players Association. Do I have any faith that you're going to do that? No, I don't, but I hope you do. I'm mad.
We are the Sportsocracy, and we will be live at the 2022 Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships tomorrow at Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville. We will be live right here on ESPN Asheville. We will not have the stream up of the show tomorrow.
There will be no YouTube video of tomorrow. However, just like today, at 5 o'clock, the second half of our mock draft will kick in. So go to thesportsocracy.com or to youtube.com. Search The Sportsocracy. You'll be able to see all of these things it will fire just like this one right after our show.
You can get tickets to the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships at SoConHoops.com. Everything kicked off today with the women's tournaments, and it all wraps up with the men's championship coming up on Monday night. Hope to see you out there this weekend, and we will be bringing you the coverage, of course, right here on ESPN Asheville with all the coverage of quarterfinal Saturday and semifinal Sunday as well.
We'll look forward to seeing you all at the Harrah's Cherokee Event Center this weekend. If you're on our YouTube stream, just stay right where you are. Our first 16 picks of our head-to-head mock draft coming at you right now.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, some beautiful early March weather continues here in the Carolinas. Boy, what a pretty day we had today. There is a little backdoor cold front that tries to drop our numbers a little bit closer to average here for Friday, but still enjoying some mid-60s coming up for Friday. 38 degrees our low tonight, 65 on Friday, upper 60s Saturday, and mid-70s here in Asheville on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need.
Liberty.
Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 240 eastbound between exit 3 and exit 4A. 240 on the westbound side, slow between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound, heavy delays between Hendersonville Road to just after Airport Road. Near Inca Village, Sardis Road, heavy volume between Sand Hill Road and Bavard Road. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road, expect delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit